Are you a bio student who's been working really hard for these last 2 years, trying to achieve that goal of getting into ISC, IISER Pune, or one of the top IISERs in this country? And now all of a sudden you realize that there's this one subject, maths, that's standing between you and your goal. If you look at the past couple of years, you need a 180 plus score to get into these colleges. You have physics, chemistry, and bio. The total of these three subjects add up to 180. So you have to get every question from these three sections correct to get that score of 180 plus, which is really hard to do on an exam day, right? So in these last 30 days, I've come up with a strategy which will no longer keep maths as your weakness. I've come up with a strategy where I'll tell you which are the important topics, which are the most scoring topics, so that you can easily get a 30 plus score. And you know, a 30 plus score could make a huge difference to your overall rank, right? So we'll start off with seeing what the important chapters are, then we'll talk a little bit about strategy, right? So your entire syllabus can be broken down into these modules, okay? You have algebra, differential calculus, probability and statistics, integral calculus, geometry, and trigonometry. Even though it looks very scary, I'll tell you which are the ones that you need to do first. Starting off with algebra, it's a very easy module. Every chapter here, if you look at it, it only has a few formulas. So as long as you remember those formulas, practice a few questions, mostly whatever question comes in the exam would be some variation of that, right? So the chapters here, for example, set theory, it's very elementary, quadratic equation, complex number, sequence series, binomial, matrix determinants, and induction. Now this is the past year trend of IAT. And if you look at these entire module, you can expect at least 5 questions from here. Say 3 to 5, okay? So if you get these 3 to 5 questions from this section, that's a 15 marks, right? Second of all, so this should be your first target, right? Get done with algebra, look at the formulas, practice a bunch of questions, and you'll be done with this module. Second, what you need to do is probability and statistics. So if you see, it's not a chapter where a lot of questions comes, but 1 or 2 questions will come from probability and statistics, and these are very easy, okay? As long as you get the basic concepts right, it's not a chapter where you have to memorize a lot of things. The entire chapter maybe contains 4 to 5 formulas, right? So this is a must for you, okay? So this is the second chapter that you'll do. The third chapter, or the third module that we'll talk about, is differential calculus. This has to be a third target. Because again, this is one such module where you can see you can expect like 4 to 5 questions every year, right? And the chapters are relatively easy. You have basic maths, relations, functions, AOD, continuity, differentiability, limits, right? These are very simple. Then there aren't really a lot of variation when it comes to questions. Every question follows the same pattern. If you see the last PYQs, you'll see that. So again, you have like 3 to 5 questions from here. You have like 1 to 2 questions from here, right? So if you add all of this together, you can see you can easily get at least 10 questions, right? Combining all these 3. And 10 questions, they'll be easy. And if you score 3 from each of them, you'll get 30 marks, right? Now, whenever we talk about topics, in general, if you have time, I'll always recommend you to go for the other topics. For example, trigonometry. It's an isolated chapter. 1 question might come from it. But if you can somehow manage to do integral calculus, because it's another module where you can see you get at least 4 to 5 questions, and all of them use the same idea, right? It's integration all the way, right? Like whether it's indefinite integrals, differential equations, or area under the curve, the idea is the same, right? So this should be one such topic. If you have time left, you can go through it. Right. Geometry I won't really recommend, because as bio students you also have to take care of bio, right? And we all know coordinate geometry vectors, they have lots of formulas, right? You have lots of different forms, you need to remember them. So this is one such topic you can skip if you don't have time. But the others are some things you should do, okay? You must do if you want that extra 30 marks, which will give you an edge over other students that you're competing with, right? So this takes care of the important topics for us. Next is strategy. Strategy when it comes to maths is very simple. It's not very conceptual like other subjects like physics and chemistry, where you might get conceptual questions. Over here, all you need to do is learn the formulas and look at the different applications, right? And how do we get good at these applications part? Do a lot of questions. As simple as that. There's no other way around it. As soon as you do 20 questions from each of these chapters, you'll see the 21st question is one of the previous 20 questions, right? You can't really have a lot of variation when it comes to these chapters. So after following these steps, pick up any past year question from IAT, do those questions, and if you can't attempt questions from these chapters, make sure you come back and tell me in the comments, okay? And if you're wondering where to practice questions, we have our own book for IAT. It has 20 plus mocks. You can always go and check it out. Link is in the description. It has exact pattern of questions as they come in the exams. You can practice questions from there and you can see your performance.